I'm a content creator. That is my job. SUPERVIVE just can't sustain me to do that right now. So we are switching the coverage of the game to the second channel, PAS 2, and shifting the focus on this channel to Marvel Rivals. It's a no-brainer. I actually don't mind the game, and I'm pretty good at it, all things considered, since I used to be an Overwatch player. So let's get into the video and talk about why this is happening. All right, guys, it's no secret. SUPERVIVE is just not performing right now. There are about 3,000 players at the peak playing this game on any given day throughout the week, and no matter how many experimental changes the developers try, nothing is really sticking. As a creator, 3,000 players isn't enough to make a living, and at the end of the day, a dream is a dream, and I'm willing to chase it by any means possible. And I'm making this video because I just want to be as transparent as possible with you guys, and just tell you how it is. That's always how I try to do things. A player base this small is just really rough for a game that's like this though, and I think that is the main reason why it hurts me to make this video. Battle Royales with lobbies of 40 players really need a healthy player base in the 50 to 60,000 range at least to fill out lobbies that are even remotely balanced in ranked. And we just don't have that. Ranked sucks to me as a result. It's just not very fun to play because it isn't really me getting better at the game or pushing a rank. It's me just beating up on people that are learning to begin with. Scrims aren't really any different. I mean, no disrespect to the competition, but it is clear that people just don't have the passion to compete anymore, and I really don't blame them. The fire just isn't there, and when it is possible to win with a Luna in Shrike multiple blocks in a row, I am starting to view scrims as more of a for fun environment than a hard, sweaty environment. So, after we've talked about all that, and realistically my reasons for why SUPERVIVE isn't doing too well, I think it's good to talk about why SUPERVIVE isn't really doing well right now in terms of my opinion, what I've observed of new players, and maybe where the devs can go for when the game fully releases. Now, speaking of the developers, first off, no hate to them whatsoever. We actually have no idea as creators what is going on behind closed doors, and I know as players, you guys definitely don't have any idea either. So the best thing that we can say is, well, this is what I see and this is what I think about the game and how it's going. The thing is that we really have no idea what is going on. So a lot of what could be happening could be managerial or investors pushing developers to try to do things they don't want to do. And maybe that's why we're in this position. Maybe it is something that they were doing. But at the end of the day, we do not know. So you have to treat them with respect. And that's all I'm going to be doing in this video today, even though I'm giving the critique the way I see it. At the end of the day, these devs had the balls to leave their AAA jobs at Riot working for League to make a game that is super admirable and super fun. It just turns out that, you know, when you're a small startup, it is incredibly difficult to make things happen. Now, I can't let them off the hook 100%. I have to be real with you all and how I see it. I'm probably wrong in a lot of my opinions I'm about to say. I mean, I have to explain myself at the end of the day, though, in a video like this. So if I'm wrong, developers, and you end up watching this and I say something that isn't correct whatsoever, I mean, just say something in the comments, flame me. To be honest, understand that I'm not perfect, and this is just how I have to see it. So keep that in mind when you're watching this as well. So here's the thing. The way I see it is your competition is Marvel Rivals if you are the SUPERVIVE people, and that has just nuked the entire population of gaming. No one could have predicted this. To be honest, I thought it was going to do well. I didn't think it was going to do this well. I mean, if you're looking at the numbers, Overwatch is struggling as is. Apex Legends, of all games, that has not really all that much crossover to Marvel Rivals, is at all-time lows, like seriously horrible. It's like maybe 50,000 players peak a day right now. It's pretty rough. And competing as a startup with maybe 50,000, or not even 50,000, maybe 50 million in the budget against a multi-billion dollar company, like it's NetEase. Like, you're talking about the people that are literally investing in SUPERVIVE. Like, you're fighting a crazy uphill battle. And in terms of advertisement spend, that just means that you're going to be going up against the defense of Marvel Rivals, and the bids for gaming population people that you're going to be advertising to are now incredibly expensive. So players that are wondering, why isn't there a lot of SUPERVIVE advertisement? They quite literally are going against billions of dollars with their millions of dollars when CPCs are up to probably, I could see it maybe being around like $1, $2 per ad. And that might not sound like a lot, but trust me guys, that is a lot of money when you don't have nearly as big of a budget as a game that has billions. So SUPERVIVE is in a really difficult to execute spot here. They are not by any means in a spot where they can just be like, Oh yeah, for free. This is easy. They're in a very difficult spot. They're really going for a Hail Mary here. Now, the thing is it's not just advertising that's going to make a game good. It's not just advertising that's going to get people to play the game. The thing is that the game is just so hard to get good at and be introduced to, because no one really wants to learn the game if there's no incentive to either. So I think this is realistically the main reason why the game is not doing well. It's not because of advertisement. It's because there's not a lot of retention and there's just not a lot of new players that are willing to learn the game. I genuinely think, though, that it was the reason why we're in this whole shit show that we're in right now is because of us, alpha testers, content creators, players like scrim teams playing ranked on day one, even just week one, the Huddy patch being weeks long when it realistically should have been hotfixed probably on day 2 or 3, and the huge Christmas break that the whole devs took. And we'll talk about that a little bit later. That's probably the hottest topic on this that will probably be the most incorrect and ignorant, but I address that now. So here's the first point. Having the top 10 NA teams and the top 10 EU teams ravaging new players on launch, in my opinion, was really bad. These players realistically are just learning the game and have zero chance of winning. There's no way you're going to be able to out-aim or out-think or out-farm, outplay the game, because they just seriously have no clue what's going on. If I was a new player, even as a competitive player that had competed in Overwatch, that got top 50 in Overwatch and was playing in tier 3 and low tier 2, like, I would have just quit the game. There would have been no reason for me to play this over the game I knew, which was Marvel Rivals, and that's a lot of people. The thing is, when you have all these really strong players in your game, no one's going to want to navigate it, because why would you? There's no reason to play the game at that point. They're already years ahead of you. There's no reason to try to learn this game. It's not even fun. That's the problem. The game isn't even fun at that point for them. So I really do think we should have had customs for the best players on day one. Sure, some players miss out on that, and it's pretty gatekeepy, and you're going to piss off some of your alpha testing community. But at the end of the day, I think that's better for the game. That's the difference between possibly 4,000 players and 8,000 to 10,000 players. I don't know. Maybe that's not true. Maybe I'm ignorant, but the way I see it, if I was a new player going up against TLD, I would probably never play the game again. And I thought this the whole time we were playing early in the Steam Next Fest and early beta 2. I'm like, I think we are a bad influence on the future of this game. And at the time, I remember Phenom saying, nah, bro, people like to get destroyed. They like to see where the competitive edge can go. And I'm looking back on that, and looking at how many people are playing the game right now, I do not think Phenom was correct. All love to him. I think we might have negatively influenced the game in that way. So now the thing is, the devs did try to do something. They tried to take away stacking, but it doesn't matter. 2 pros versus 4 noobs, it just nukes them still. End of the story. I mean, I'm playing Oath and Lemur's playing Brawl on day 1. We're just absolutely going to ravage people. It's just not even fun for them. And on top of that, then people that want to play with their friends and climb can't even do that. So they don't even have an incentive to keep playing with their friends. It's a whole thing. The thing is realistically, we just had to get pushed to the side for a little bit. And I think that would have been the best for realistically everything. Now, that being said, I'm hoping for launch that we can preserve that new player experience in some way. Allow people to learn the game and get better at it before you release the Kraken that is a bunch of tier 1 players just absolutely ravaging people's lobbies. I know I've said that word a lot, but realistically, that's exactly what happened. Now, moving on to the second point, the Huddy patch was just rough. Hudson might be the worst character to be that strong off the get-go. The reason being, he is perceived to be super easy to pick up and play, and when your super easy to pick up and play character is the best character by far and outranges snipers, to a casual player that is just learning the game, the design philosophy doesn't really add up there, in my opinion. It just doesn't quite make sense. And I think a lot of people did quit the game. I mean, in my comments, it seems like a lot of people that are no longer bitching and moaning about the game have just kind of gave up on it. They just didn't care. I mean, Hudson was strong and now is being reintroduced into the meta again. And I just don't think having characters that are not fun to play against be that strong early on should be that strong early on. I think realistically, you should have had your Jewels and your Myths and your Shrikes be the ones that are pretty strong and have the characters that feel engaging to play strong early until you hook people, and then you can start really introducing some meta diversity. But realistically, that's just not what happened. And now the next guy is Brawl, but that's a whole nother thing. I feel bad for the devs that have to figure out how to balance this game right now, because the community, I'm being real, y'all sometimes are savage. Now, the thing is when this character is so strong, it doesn't make the game feel fun. It doesn't make the game rewarding because it doesn't feel like skill is rewarded if you're not playing Hudson. It doesn't make people want to play the game. It doesn't make them want to have any fun with it. It doesn't make them want to try to get better at it because at the end of the day, you can just pick Huddy, hold down your left mouse button, and everything dies. That's how I would assume most of the beginner players I talk to, that's realistically what they said. They're like, this game takes no skill. I know that I'm wrong, but that's just what it feels like, so why would I play it? So realistically, what I would have loved to see is a hotfix much faster and just take the action that the players wanted earlier and then go from there. But realistically, that's not what happened. And Huddy did remain strong for, from what I remember, at least 2 weeks. It felt like a month, but I would say it was at least 2 weeks. Now, moving on to my last point, again, this is probably where I'm very ignorant, but when we release the game, we really need to be, that's not the end, the finish line. That is quite literally the beginning. The grind does not stop when you start. Like, that is when you start, that's when the grind is at its peak. So releasing the game in November for a month later, planning on a company-wide break where nothing really happens and you just release Resurgence and keep that going for 3 weeks, having that be what the community is looking forward to when Christmas is around. Personally, I looked at that and I knew, this is not going to be good for the game, and the players are going to slowly start leaving once this happens. Now, like I said, this isn't really my space to speak on. I wasn't there, so maybe there's other pressures, and maybe there's just other things, like maybe management or investors were like, we need this game out now. You guys didn't maybe want that, because for all honesty, I think if you release SUPERVIVE in February, the numbers are much better, especially if you implement all the changes through playtesting that we have now. I think the game right now would have done a lot better. Maybe obviously I'm just shooting the shit here and we don't know that, but I think you have a lot better of a chance there because in my opinion, when I look at SUPERVIVE, you are David confronting the Goliath that is Marvel Rivals. And when you have that, you don't have the luxury to take breaks if you want to be successful. You have to be ready to go from the ground, get-go running, and just get it done. That being said, what I would have loved to see is, I still think the devs deserve a break because they were working on this game hard for like at least 4 years. I wasn't even testing that long. But then why not just take another month? My speculation is that it was something from investors or management that forced the devs to do this, and there was probably a lot of disagreement with it. But I'm telling this from my perspective, this seems like a very poor misplay here. But you know, maybe there were meetings. There's definitely meetings I wasn't a part of, but obviously in hindsight is 2020. If this wasn't this way, I wouldn't be making this video. So that's at the end of the day, it is what it is. So I know it sounds incredibly fucked up the way that I just said that. If you're a dev and you're probably looking at me like you have no idea, I understand that. But SUPERVIVE at the end of the day was a miracle child that was set up to fail. And seriously had a lot going for it since people, it was fun. I mean, people wanted to learn the game when it was new, it was fresh. But at the end of the day, you needed to treat it with 110% effort every single day in and day out. And, you know, even then, when you did put all that effort in, sometimes you're just not going to win because you're flipping a coin here. I mean, SUPERVIVing against Marvel Rivals is a difficult thing to make work. So what does all this yap that I'm doing in this video mean for the future of me? Like the Wolf on Wall Street, I'm not fucking leaving. At least not anytime soon. I'm still going to be playing in scrims when I can, but I'm just not going to be playing ranked. I'm not going to be streaming my ranked as much. I might not even be scrimming as much. And all of that stuff, all of the content for SUPERVIVE, new characters that are coming out, new thoughts on patches, that's all going to be moved to PAS 2. But here's the thing, guys. At the end of the day, we need more eyes on me, on us, the SUPERVIVE content creators, and maybe subsequently more eyes on SUPERVIVE when it finally fully releases. I believe for this game, the best thing I can do is let it cook, let the devs cook, and do my own thing. So that being said, I'm going to be going on Marvel Rivals, and I know I said in other videos I wouldn't be going this game because I hate it. I decided, you know what, why not give a game a second chance? It's grown a lot on me since then. I'm not going to say it's as good as Overwatch in its prime, but it's not terrible, and it's a fun game to play with friends. So now I'm going to be making content on this because I don't think I'm bad at it. I'm already almost top 500 in the game. I realistically think I can teach you guys how to get better at not just SUPERVIVE, but also this game. So I'm also confident that I can even entertain you while doing so, but if you dread the game, I understand, and thanks for sticking around while I was playing SUPERVIVE. Trust me, it means the world to me. I will never love a game as much as I love SUPERVIVE when it was in that alpha playtest, early beta stage. There was nothing else like it. It was magical. But other than that, guys, I really just need to say thank you to everyone here watching, the dev team of SUPERVIVE, and a big thank you to everyone I met throughout the community. You guys all know who you are in UTech. Trust me, those nights where we all stayed up late and we're talking about the game, there's nothing else that's going to be like it. And you all know who you are. There are some seriously talented people in the SUPERVIVE community that I just would have never gotten the chance to meet had I not played in this game. So I just really appreciate you guys, and I'm just incredibly thankful for all the time that I've been in this game. But now it's on to bigger and better things. I'll be rooting for this game in the shadows and hope it pops off and continues to pop off while it gets reiterated. But until next time, I've got to peace out and Paz out. I'll see you in the next one.